Neptown tuner here on an Audi like this. I've got a steering knuckle in front of me. Unfortunately, I'm not able to show you this one in the car, but I'll show you another one in the future. In my past couple videos, that top bolt didn't give me any problems whatsoever. But this is an example where someone previously replaced these struts. You see that red sticker there, the KYB? And they couldn't get these guide links off. Now let's take a look at these guide links. In this case, it looks like they're completely separated. You see that crack right here? It's that way on both sides. Cracks. So those would be easy to replace if that bolt came out, if this bolt right there. Now, I don't believe I did any of this. I did loosen this nut. I just threw this to the side because I didn't need to do anything with this. I threw this part to the side like a year ago. I believe that the person that replaced this strut tried to get this apart. They did all that wailing on that right there. There was maybe a little bit of wailing that happened right here whenever they maybe missed, and possibly up here. Some of that might have been just me dragging it around to store it. But let's take a look at this corrosion in this bolt here. We got the steel bolt and it's in that aluminum. You see it's completely corroded. Well, there's no saving in these arms at all. Don't expect to take these apart and put them back together if this bolt is like this, because we're gonna have to put heat on it. And what I got is my map gas torch right here. I think it's actually called something else. Anyway, we're just going to try not to catch it on fire. Like if you're doing this in the car, you got to be a little bit careful. But we're gonna get it nice and hot. It might burn those ball joints out. It's okay. We're gonna have to put lots of heat on. Heat is gonna be our friend. This torch here barely gets hot enough to do what we need to do. Aluminum does not really absorb the heat as well. It tries to dissipate it. I'm trying to burn that corrosion out of the bolt with fire, with heat. Now I got my brass hammer, and I'm just gonna, well, before I do that, you know, there's a couple different methods, but I prefer to, I can put heat on it again and try that same thing without the lube. This isn't gonna hurt anything, but this is gonna cool it down quite a bit. So I might not get any movement out of it the first time, but it might suck some of this in and make it easier the second time. I'm still gonna try to hit it though. Nothing. Let's go ahead and try to turn that bolt head just to show you the other. And I'm absolutely not able to. I can put as much force as I want onto it, and I just know that eventually it's going to snap the head off. And that's not necessarily what I want at this point. So we're going to go to phase 2. Now I flipped it around on the nut side, and you got to be very careful with this aluminum, but I got a chisel in here, and I'm gonna kind of put it just like this and gently tap that mouth open a little bit, just a hair, just to kind of jostle it around enough to free that ear up. And I might or might not slide an angle grinder down there and just chop this whole thing out. So we'll see how this goes first. So here's where I ended up so far. I started in the front lip, and then I moved to the back where the slot was bigger in the back and it skinnies up in the front. So I opened it up quite a bit, and then I tried wailing on it really, really good. So much so that I didn't care how much it mushroomed it with my brass hammer, and I didn't get any movement out of the other side. So at this point, I'm going to take my chisel back out, and then I'm gonna get a skinny angle grinder right in here and just chop this whole thing out, and hopefully I can get the rest of this stud out. And then that is not a good sign. Wish me luck. So here's the situation. I got this grinder here. I'm gonna go directly inside this slot, and I gotta pay super close attention not to make that slot any bigger. It's the same size as the grinding wheel. And then I gotta pay attention back here that I don't bump into that spindle. So I'm gonna try to chop straight through that thing. I could have tried applying heat again, but I just went straight for the grinder. So I think the bolt is cut all the way through. And now I'm gonna try to punch the nut in a little bit. I could try to pull the nut out. That would probably be a more responsible thing to do. But let's just see if it's moving at all. No, that's gonna be really seized. Just even in that ear, it's gonna be seized. Let's go ahead. See where we're at. Did it push it in at all? Didn't even push the stud through. Okay, so maybe I didn't have it cut all the way through. I went at it just a little bit more. Yeah, I bumped the sides a little bit. I maybe made that slit just a little bit wider, but only the best of them do. So let's take a look at this white crusty corrosion on there. It's that same kind of junk right in there. It's burnt up from the torch, but that's that crusty white corrosion we're dealing with. Now we got to see about the rest of this thing. What are we going to do with this thing? Let's try to spin that bolt again after we hit it with the old torch again. Okay, I just hit it with that torch for like a solid 3 minutes, and we're getting movement out of this bolt. So I'm not just gonna go in a single direction. I'm gonna try to go back and forth. And actually, now I'm gonna try to implement some lubrication and key points. I'm gonna try to go back and forth some more. Work that lubrication in as much as it can. Any movement is good movement. Go back to the lube. Is it out? Good. Flip the knob up. I'm gonna spray it down every channel and every orifice you can find. We're getting more movement each time. Oh, well, spoke too soon. I thought it was going to swing up. Oh, I better not keep on going that direction. I gotta hold it down with my foot. I might have to go back to the torch. Yep, we gotta go back to the torch. You know what I had to do? I had to hit it with that power wrench and the torch at the same time. I really did. Heating it up diagonally, the direction of the bolt. While I was spinning it, it was really stiff at first, but I don't want to stress that bolt head, because if that bolt head snaps off, then all I have is to push it through, and I don't like that, because if you try to start drilling through this aluminum, you can easily start going crooked, and the chances of success start plummeting. So now the chances of success are exceedingly in my favor, because I'm just going to punch it out from the back. I still have the bolt head to spin the bolt, and the bolt is spinning freely. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the proper size punch and punch it through now. See how easy it's spinning? I said I was going to get the proper size punch, but I had a T30 bit just sitting right over there, and I'm a naughty boy, so I put it in there and I'm just tapping it out, and it's moving perfectly fine. If I had an extra hand, I'd show you when I did it, but just tap, 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 tap. Use your imagination. Well, right after I got off the camera, I had to heat it back up again with the torch, because it wasn't wanting to tap again. And I had to spin it again, and then I had to tap it again and heat it up and spin it and tap it. And finally, we're at the end of our rope here. And there we go. And then you see, and that corrosion continued onto these ball joints on the top of the guide links. I had to take a hammer and actually smack them out. And you see that bolt not only pinches down on them, but it slides through that half moon and locks them into place. So you have to get that bolt out to get those things out. Now you're gonna take like a battery terminal wire brush inside there, or a round file or something, and clean up all that corrosion. And then maybe put some anti-seize in there. Maybe even load up that bolt slot right there with some anti-seize. But we saved this spindle. Until next time, Neptown Tuner.